Hi, in this tutorial I will be talking about DHCP Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Then I will show step-by-step configuration and installation process of DHCP server on Windows Server 2019. DHCP Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Dynamic means automatic. Host is the client. Configurations such as IP address, subnet mask, and default gateway. So each device, computers on a TCP IP based network, must have a unique unicast IP address to access the network and its resources. Resources such as printers or share folders. Without DHCP, IP addresses for new computers or computers that has moved from one subnet to another must be configured manually. Manually is static IP addressing. However, with DHCP, this entire process is automated and managed centrally. In this figure below, as we see the DHCP here server and these three computers, these three devices, let's call them the host or the clients. These clients are asking for IP address and subnet mask with default gateway to access network, the network and its resources such as printers, share folders, and communicate together over the TCP IP network. So they would ask the DHCP, and DHCP provide these information automatically without us going on each computer, let's say in a company, and go for each computer and configure this information manually. DHCP terms, we are going to talk about few basic terms that are going to help us configure DHCP server, such as address pool. These addresses remain after you define a DHCP scope and apply exclusion ranges. Pool addresses are eligible for dynamic assignment by the server to DHCP clients on your network. We also have exclusion range when we configure DHCP. So, a limited sequence of IP addresses within a scope excluded from DHCP service offering. So, this range of IP addresses are not going to be offered by DHCP server to DHCP clients. For example, if you have a special IP addresses range that you want to save, such as IP address for your DNS or IP address for your router or default gateway, you are going to exclude these addresses from your scope. We also do have terms such as lease. So this is a length of time that a DHCP service specify during which a client computer can use assigned IP address. So these IP addresses and other network configurations that DHCP server provide to a client will have a specific time reservations. DHCP server can also provide permanent address lease assignment to a DHCP client. So a reservation assures that a specific hardware device, such as your computer, on the subnet can always use the same IP address by detecting the MAC address of your hardware. So if you want to use IP address of 10.0.0.1, you can provide your MAC address to the DHCP server, and this DHCP server, each time your device boots up, it will give you exactly the same IP address. We also go to scope. The scope basically are the range of possible IP addresses in which DHCP server can use to provide clients on the network with IP addresses. So why DHCP? So why we need this service on our network. So such protocol provide us with steady IP addressing configuration. DHCP minimize configuration errors caused by manual IP address configuration. So a network administrator will go to each computer manually and provide IP address. This will cause errors such as typographical errors or address conflicts caused by the assignment of the same IP address to more than one computer at the same time. So DHCP will minimize such errors with automated and centralized DHCP configuration. DHCP uses UDP port number 67 for a server and UDP port number 68 for clients. So how does DHCP work? DHCP has 4 main steps, and these steps involve both DHCP client, such as computer, and the DHCP server. So step number 1, DHCP discovery. The client computer sends out a broadcast packet including its name and the MAC address to find a DHCP server. The DHCP client is a computer. It's on and it's sending a packet. I'm here. I need to access the network. Please provide me with an IP address to any DHCP server available. So the DHCP server in step number 2 will respond to this discovery broadcast packet with an offer of an IP address that is available in the scope. So the DHCP server will tell the client or the computer asking for IP address that here I have an IP address available and I can give you this offer. DHCP request, this is step number 3. So the client computer then reply with a DHCP request to ask the DHCP server for the IP address offered. Here the client in step number 3 is saying that thank you, the offer is accepted, please give me the IP. The last step is step number 4 is DHCP acknowledgement or ACK. The DHCP server sends a DHCP acknowledgement to tell the client that it's okay to use the requested IP address assigned to the client, to you right now. So acknowledgement basically it's the DHCP server saying okay, here we go ahead and access the network and use the information I gave you. Now I will demonstrate step-by-step installation and configuration process for DHCP service using Windows Server 2019. So after you log into your administrator account on Windows Server 2019 and open your server manager. So from server manager, go to manage from the top right, add role and features. So here click on next. So it's role based, click on next. The select destination server, this is my server, click on next. So here from the list, select the server roles, and here is the DHCP server. Click add features, click on next, 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 and install. Once it's done, click on complete DHCP configuration, click on next, click on commit, and then close this. Next I will be configuring my DHCP server on Windows Server 2019. So from your server manager, go to tools, click on DHCP. This is my DHCP manager, and from the left side, as you see, this is my server name. Double click here, select IPv4, right click, new scope, and this is the new scope reserved. Click on next. So you can call the scope. I will be calling it emergency room, and this is Toronto, and click on next. So here's the IP address range. So I will be writing down 192.168.1.200, and the end range is 192.168.1.24254, and this is the subnet mask. It's default type C. Click on next. So here's the IP exclusion, the addresses that I want to save from offering, or the addresses that the server will not be using to provide a client with. So I will be exclude the first three addresses from the pool, from my pool. So 1.200, and the end address would be 192. So 192.168.1.205. These are the first 5 addresses from the range I gave. Click on next. The lease duration here, I will be giving it 16 days. So click next. Yes, I want to configure these options now. Click on next. So here the default gateway or your router. My Windows Server 2019 is also my router, so 192.168.1.1. This is my router address. Click on add. Next. Here your domain name, your DNS. So it's 192.168.1.1. Click on add. So this will create a validation. Click on next. Yes. Click next. The Win server here, click on 199.199.199. Click on add. Next. So yes, activate scope. Yes, I want to activate this scope now. Click on next and click on finish. So as you see here, under IPv4, I see the scope, and here's the scope. So the address pool, and also I see address leases. I don't have any lease right now, and the pool. Here we go, and this is the range of distribution, and this is IP address excluded from distribution. Next, I will be configuring my DHCP server with a scope of IPv6 addresses. So from DHCP manager, click on IPv6 and right click new scope, click on next. So here the name. So here we are giving our computers IPv6 addresses. Click on next. Prefix to and the subnet prefix length 64. Click on next. So here I add exclusion. So I will be adding 4 A's and then 1, 2. The end is 4 B's and 1. So I will just click on add, click on next. Then we have the lease term. So leave as default 6 days. Click on next. Activate scope now. Yes. Click on finish. And here we have our IPv6 scope. Now I can test my DHCP server, but before testing we need to check our DHCP server setting. So in the network setting, make sure to right click properties and check your DHCP server. So make sure that your router is set up, your default gateway. So this is my router, or the server itself. So this is my IP address here, and also make sure you are enabled IPv6 and with the required IPv6 address and the subnet prefix length. And as you see, this is my Windows Server 2019. Now we can test our DHCP server IPv4 and IPv6. So log into your I will log into my client computer. So this is employee 1. So here I am in my client computer. So employee 1, let's check our let's go to control panel and check the network setting for this computer. So network and sharing center, change adapter, right click and click on the administrator. So here, as you see, this is employee 1 computer on the domain, and if we go to IPv4, as you see, make sure it's obtain an IP address automatically, and also with the DNS server, as well with IPv6 obtain automatically. So obtain an IPv6 or v4 address automatically mean we are using the DHCP that we just configured on our Windows Server 2019. Click on OK, click OK, close this and close this. So continuing with our employee 1 computer, open command prompt, and here I want to use command ipconfig /release. So to release the current network configuration set up on this computer. So here it's successfully released. Now I want to renew the network configuration by writing down /renew. So in this renew, we are just going to have our IP address and other configuration, network configuration from the DHCP server that we just configured. So hit enter and wait a few seconds, and here we go. Now we have a new IPv4 connection, as you see here, and it's within the scope. So 192.168.1.206. So if you remember, we used .200 to 254. However, we exclude 200 to 205 here, the host ID. So we started with the first IP in the range, so it's 206. Subnet, the same one that we provided, and the default gateway. We also can write commands such as ipconfig /all. We see more information such as, now we see DHCP enabled, yes. So the auto configuration enabled, says yes. And we also see that the IPv4 address, the subnet mask, and the lease obtained, the day, and the expiration date. And we gave, I think, around 16 days. The default, this is our router, this is our Windows Server 2019 IP address, and this is the server, DHCP server, which is the same address. And also we have the address of our DNS server that we provided, and the primary WIN servers. Here we go. So now let's also use the same command ipconfig /release. However, we are going to use release with number 6. This means we are going to release IPv6 configuration, current configurations. And here we go, it's released. Now we are going to renew with 6, IPv6 renewal. And let's wait a few seconds, and as you see here, we have a new IPv6 IP address with subnet mask with the default gateway. Also, next I will talk about reservations. So in order to reserve an IP address from the DHCP server to employee 1, we need the MAC address, the physical address for this network adapter on our employee 1 computer. So this is the MAC address, physical address, and copy this or write down this this address. The DHCP manager will ask us for this address when we configure reservation for employee 1. Now, back to my Windows Server 2019, I want to make reservation, IPv4 reservation. From Tools, open your DHCP Manager, then double-click your server, IPv4, extend, and the scope, extend, reservation, right-click, new reservation. Here we do have reservation name, employee. So employee 1, and we do have the network. I'm gonna give this is the network ID 192.168.1, and I'm gonna give employee 1 an IP address from the range of the scope that we defined. So 236. The MAC address that I talked about, we just have to copy this, paste, without the colons, so remove that, or dash, without the dash. So this is the MAC address. Supported type, click both, and click add, and click close. So as you see in the reservation now, we do have employee 1, and this is the IP address. Going back to our employee 1 machine, we need to test the reservation. So currently, if I check ipconfig and hit enter, I see that my IPv4 address is the one that I recently renewed with. So it's .206. This is the host ID. So now, in order to check the reservation that I created for employee 1, let's write down ipconfig /release to release the current information, network configuration. And then once it's released, I will be renewing the IP address, and once it's renewed, it should show us the reservation. Here it's successfully released. So ipconfig space / renew, and within a few seconds you will see the same IP address that we just defined in the reservation for employee 1. Here we go. So as you see here, this is the IPv4 address that we reserved for employee 1. So each time employees 1 computer boots up, the DHCP server will detect the MAC address for this computer, and it will provide the same IP address. This is a permanent lease assignment. Next, in order to make IPv6 reservation, we need two things. So if you run command ipconfig space /all on your employee 1 computer, you will see two numbers here. It's ID, this one and this one. So it's the identity association, and the unique identifier for DHCP v6. We need these two numbers to make reservation for employee 1. So going back to our DHCP server manager on Windows Server 2019, reservation, IPv6, and your scope, then reservation, right click in your reservation, write down the name of this reservation, so employee 1 dash IP version 6. So here I will paste my unique identifier, and also I need my identity association ID. So it's 251661353. Now you have all these information. Now all you need to do is you need to specify the IPv6 you want to reserve for employee 1. So I'm just using this IPv6 for now, and I'm gonna hit add, close. You should see the reservation here. Going back to my employee 1 computer, I will just write down command ipconfig once more, space / release to release the current network configuration, and with 6. Then I will just renew the IPv6 configuration. I'll renew 6, just a few seconds, and as you see here, it's successfully renewed. And if you notice the IPv6 address now, it's the one that we reserved for employee 1. That should be it for this tutorial. I hope it was informative enough for you. Thank you for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.